All right, all we got to do is dig ourselves out of this Fragments of Silicon.
All right, welcome to another installment of the Fragments of Silicon Daylight Interviews. Joining us this week is our good friend Victor. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's like 2 years, maybe.
Possibly. I would have to look into the archives to see exactly when you've been on the program, but it's been a while. And I gotta admit, theme that I was expecting we would have you on the program to be talking about, mainly because I don't think it was at the time we did that. For the reference point of those who might not have listened to that, that would be Sword of the Necromancer Revenant, and we'll probably touch upon that a bit here later on, but you've got a remake that just got released in Sort of the Necromancer Resurrection.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So this is a remake of the first game. When I was here and back when I was in this podcast last time, I was talking about Revenant, which is a sequel to Sword of the Necromancer. Unfortunately, we had some problems with finding a publisher. We had a publisher that left us. We have had lots of problems. It hasn't been a good time for game development lately. So we decided to just park Revenant for a bit because we weren't able to finish it, and then we decided to use the work we made for Revenant. We made lots of new things. We made the whole game from scratch with the 3D engine, with all the new systems and all that. We use all that to make a remake of the first game, but which was a 2D pixel art dungeon crawler. So we adapted it to the Revenant systems, and we made this Resurrection. So the story is the same as the first one, but it's in 3D, basically.
Yeah, that is a story that has unfortunately been rather common on our broadcasts lately. You know, a lot of game devs running into trouble of various sorts due to various factors.
Hmm.
You know, and it's not just like the state of the industry, it's the, we've got the state of the storefronts, for example.
Yeah, that's also a problem. It's also a problem. There is a saturation in the market, to put it simply. It's there's lots of games. Lately, there has been an influx of AI games. Like they are like visual novels, but they are, for example, Pinocchio. Pinocchio story with dialogues made with AI, with the portraits of the characters made with AI, and they release like 10 games of that style per week in the shop only, just in the shop, just in the Nintendo shop, and Steam is the Wild West. Steam, there's like 100 releases per day. It's nuts.
It's not just Steam either. The console
Yeah.
stores are
Console
being
store.
choked with this stuff as well. And it's even worse because, like, the Nintendo eShop, just the absolute drizzling shits when it comes to discoverability,
Yeah.
in the best of times. So now it's just, an avalanche of AI slop.
Mm.
Same on PlayStation, Xbox. Like, there was a AI generated Mario Strikers clone that made the news recently.
AI or Xbox and PlayStation have been trying to curb it somewhat, but it's still just way too much for them to filter out.
Yeah.
Yeah, from our experience, right now, PlayStation and Xbox are the ones that are filtering out most of these things. But at Nintendo, it's crazy. It's all open for everything. So anyone can just release whatever. And as you said, it's filled with this AI slop. It's it's a very difficult situation because if you don't have the means to do promotion outside of the shop, it's almost impossible. Anyone will notice your game because they enter the shop, they see like 30 games since the last time they entered, and from those 30 games, 29 are this kind of games. They are not going to bother to check every game to see if one is a decent game or not. They are just not
Well,
going
and
to
with all
take
the
the
just the
time.
laggy and slowness of the eShop, you'll
Yeah,
probably
that's
only be able
another.
to get to like 15 of them before you get just utterly bored and disinterested.
Exactly. That's another issue. It's very sluggish. So it's very difficult to navigate. And Steam is it's just the sheer amount of new releases every day is just impossible to get noticed. So it's very difficult right now. And that's one of the things that that uh, that we counter, that the publishers want a game that everyone knows about already. They don't want to bet for a game and make this promotion and all that. They want you to have made all this work beforehand. So like you have like 20,000 wish list, and they start looking at you because you already have build this hype, this community behind your game. They are not going to bother to do that for you. So that's difficult because we were at this spot that we had some decent wish list, but it wasn't anything groundbreaking. So the publishers were like, this is a risky game because they don't have enough traction of their own, and that's one of the things that made it difficult for us to find a publisher. And the first publisher we had a publisher. I'm going to tell the name, but we had a publisher for Revenant that was in for funding the minimum viable product. So that's why we made the Kickstarter to get funding for the things we had to we have to take out from the game. So in order to be able to be funded by this publisher. Sorry, I'm getting a bit distracted because I'm watching the game being played
You're
right
not
now.
the first one.
Yeah, I'm like tense because you're about to die.
It's fine. I've been doing this for way too long.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we had this publisher that was going to fund us for the minimum viable product, and we made the Kickstarter to fund the rest of the game. And after the Kickstarter ended, this publisher had financial problems, and they told us that they couldn't afford to fund our game, so they just said us goodbye, and we were left alone. And then we have spent like 2.5 years looking for a publisher without any luck, because no one wants to risk. It's a very difficult market right now. Well, I'm sure you have seen that study that says that most players are playing old games instead of getting new releases, things like that. So it's right now it's very difficult. Maybe it's just that it's adjusting from the COVID times, because many people, it was like a craze, like lots of games being released and lots of games were being played back then, and maybe now all that stuff is self-regulating, but we are getting hit by this regulation wave.
It's some of it, certainly. The people playing older games thing, that's on the live service. Like, that's why games like Concord are failing, because people are still playing Apex Legend or Fortnite or what have you. It's the
No, but it definitely affects single player games too, because
right.
yeah, the time people have, it's finite. So it's if they keep playing these old games, they don't have time to play the new. And old games are very cheap. There is lots of factor here that
Of course.
we have to take into account.
Of course. And like, it's not like some of this stuff hasn't been a problem for ages here. It's just it's been exacerbated in recent times, as more and more games come out. And it's not just that. We live in a world where entertainment options are almost infinite.
Yes.
Like, that we're just talking video games here. Like, the streaming services, music, YouTube. There's just so much out there now that it's very hard to get noticed. I mean,
Yes, definitely.
And I suppose it's especially interesting for someone like you, because like, we have a lot of guests here who are working on like an original game or their first project, something that's truly uncertain, whereas you've had a successful game.
Yeah, and it was quite successful. That's one of the things that puzzle us, because we go to talk with a publisher, and it's like we didn't do anything,
Right. So yeah, I mean, that's especially confounding, because sort of the Necromancer isn't Minecraft or something like let's say Braid or Balatro, a true indie breakout, but it's wasn't nothing either, or something that only 300 people bought and never thought about again. So
no, we had like 200,000 sales among all platforms.
yeah.
That's quite a few. It's not. I mean, it's a good number. It's not a breakout like you said, but it's a good number, especially for a self-published game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just that
Yeah.
it's a very difficult situation right now, and publishers don't want to risk anything. They have
I mean,
they had risk. They have risk before. They have had lots of um,
yeah.
flops, you know, and they don't
Yeah,
want to.
I know, but there's being risk adverse, and then there's being. I'm not sure what the word it would be, but it's definitely something beyond just being risk adverse. Because once again, you've got a name in the indie space that, in and of itself, has value, and it's not like you're casting it aside and going in a completely new direction. You're making a sequel. Now, I'll grant you the sequel was looking rather different to the original version, which is its own bit of friction. But like I said, in terms of publisher parameters, you would be usually within safe range. So that's probably speaking to just how dire it is for titles to get noticed now.
Yes, absolutely.
And it is unfortunate, but I suppose ever the flip side of that coin is you don't have to rely on a publisher necessarily, because we've got while not Revenant, we've got Resurrection here, and that seems to have been handled by yourself.
Yeah, but that was like a desperate move, actually. It's not our ideal situation, and we are not doing good numbers with this one, actually. We couldn't afford making any promotion. We just reach people. We try to have some organic growth and all that, but it's not. It was not enough. So it's yeah. We definitely need a publisher for this kind of game. We grow a lot from the first game. We were like 3 people when we made the first Sword of the Necromancer, and now the team was 12 people, 12 people with all with their salaries. We have to pay their taxes. We have to pay everything, so the company runs. So for a time, since we released the first game with the profit from the first game, we have been able to run the company all this time. But that money, sometime or later, it just runs out. So we need a publisher. We needed a publisher for being able to complete the game, and not having that just cut off our wings. So yeah, we released this one by ourselves, by ourselves, but it's not what we wanted to do. It's just a move so we could get money to finish the other game.
Right.
We're just buying time here.
Well, like I said, this is not an easy subject to talk about, but
yeah,
it has to be discussed frankly, because to not sugarcoat things, there's definitely the chance that Resurrection here doesn't do the numbers it needs to do to help finish Revenant, and indeed, for lack of a better term, this may be the end of the line.
Yeah. That's the situation is looking dire, as you said. Yeah, that's how hard it is right now. Yeah, I don't know how to say it. Sorry.
No,
We were
no,
speaking Spanish. I could say it better, but I am a bit limited in how to express myself right now. Sorry. But yeah, that's yes. If this game doesn't do the numbers, we can't finish the other game. That's why we released this in the first place.
Mm. And well,
This was
I'm not.
originally this was going to be a stretch goal for the Kickstarter campaign. It was not in our plans to make the remake, but well, as I said, when we realized that we couldn't find a publisher and get the money, we choose to do this because we could finish this one. So this is a project we could finish. At least we could make use of all the work we did for Remnant and release something.
I guess the question is, what was it about Resurrection here that made it finishable?
Well, we had the story. We had all the cutscenes and as you see now in this gameplay, you see that there are some flashbacks. There is some dialogues that they are voice acted. There isn't NPCs, cities, all that stuff that Revenant has. We had to do side quests. We have to do optional materials or optional stories, things like that. All of that is written, but we had to implement that. It's a very tedious part of the development. We need many people to do that quickly because it's just setting up everything. It's not something that a small team can do in a reasonable time. So basically, we had to put together the game. Revenant is in pieces, as we could say. We had to link it up together and make it all a whole experience. You know, so that's a very long time. It's a very long part of development, and we need a team for just doing that. That's one of the things we wanted to use the funding from the publisher firm for. It was to have these level designers, maybe you could call them that, at a small team of 3-4 level designers to put this all together.
So I'm guessing Resurrection here is procedurally generated like the original was?
It has a mix of both. You have procedural generated dungeon. The rooms sometimes are pre-designed, sometimes not. Sometimes they are also procedural. And there are whole levels that are handmade. This was the same approach we wanted to use in Remnant. And well, it has a bit of combination.
Like, I suppose that makes sense. And
yeah, because in Remnant there is besides the dungeon, there are cities, there are places. It's not just only in the dungeon.
Yeah,
you have
I remember
this.
from the footage last time that there was an overworld.
Yeah, there is an overworld, exactly. That's a word.
And that that game aside, how difficult or easy was it to transpose the gameplay of the original into this new setting? Because it is vastly different. This is a 3D action RPG as opposed to the pixel art 2D affair.
Well, it was fun. it was something that we enjoyed a lot because we think that the game was lending itself to this kind of change. In fact, in the late parts of development for the original Soul of the Necromancer, we had to use 3D models for the monsters and all that because it was a lot of work to make the sprites in all directions. And we had to use 3D models to help us a bit. So in some way, we already had this idea of making this game in 3D, but we didn't have the means back then. But now with this engine, with we use Unreal Engine, it made things quite easy, and yeah, it was fun. It wasn't very difficult in a way. Maybe only the bosses. The bosses had the most changes in this game because well, it's very easy to fake some things where you are in 2D, right? Like jumping, like protecting, making the boss invulnerable, things like that. It's very easy to fake it in 2D. In 3D, you have to make it more believable, and that was the most difficult part, maybe, of this translation. But yeah, no, it was fine. It was a very natural thing to do from the 2D to this 3D. We also, as you can see, we have introduced this verticality in the levels. There are different heights of things. You have to climb ladders, you have to jump, you have to do some bit of platforming, and yeah, that was something that we couldn't do actually in the original game. That's why I say that we tried to have more fun with development because of that, because of these new things that opened up the game.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. You're working with 3D space, so it's not easier, but it's a lot more noticeable that you'd be jumping. And to that end, what about the summon system? Did that change any in the transition?
Not because of the transition, but we changed it a lot. Now there was some problems with the first game, because people wanted to use the monsters like they summon the monsters and they sit back and they don't do anything, and they let the monsters do all the work, and that was just not what we wanted the player to do. We wanted the player to summon the monsters and play alongside them. So we had to change how the summons behave. We made them more intelligent, so they can do more things on their own. They can also do different abilities. They don't have just one attack like in the first game. They can learn up to 5, and they can use them differently. And yeah, that's also what we are seeing right now. We are seeing right now, there is this tactic menu that you can use to program the monster. So, for example, now if you summon the slime and change the tactic, you can see that change the second one, the one that says ally closest. You can change it so it targets other targets. It targets the pressure plate, for example, and goes to the pressure plate. Yeah,
That's what I was figuring. I was trying to
yeah,
figure out.
this is the hardest part of. Now the monster goes to the pressure plate, presses it, and you can cross. And now you have to do it all again. So you can use these tactics to. You don't need to change it. Don't worry.
I was just in case needed it for fighting, like right here, because he's one of my stronger.
Okay, so you can use this feature to program the monsters, and they can do quite well by themselves now. Of course, when you have higher level monsters, they have more available actions that you can program them a bit more with fine tuning a bit more.
Similar to the gambit system from, I believe, Final Fantasy 12.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that. It behaves more or less the same. We have simplified it a bit, and on the other hand, we had added some more conditions, so you can do different things. But yeah, it mostly works like that. It's just like a target, a condition, and an action you want it to do. And if it can do the first in the list, it tries to do the second, and then the third, and so on. So yeah, this changes a lot of the game. For example, we can now do puzzles, something that we couldn't do in the first game. We can do puzzles that the monsters are part of. We also changed the combat system a lot to introduce this verticality also, to take advantage, better said. This is a tricky one. Okay, so you can now do aerial combos. You can now launch the enemies into the air. You can also do combos with the monsters. You can. There are some monsters that have some abilities that stun the enemy in place, and then you can use it to attack with your character. All that. So yeah, it's a whole different game. It's not something that we just made the same game in 3D and stopped at it. We remade everything. It's a remake in the whole sense of the word. But we have one. How do you say in English? Like a fun story, like when we send the game to Steam, you have to send before you release the game. Of course, you have to send the game like like a month before the release day is set. You have to send the game so they can check it, and well, they can check it's not a Bitcoin miner and things like that, right? And it works more or less. So someone at Steam just didn't understand the concept of remake. You know, so when we send the game, they were like blocking the game from being certified for Steam, because they said, why is this not an upgrade for the first game, right? Why it's not an update, like a DLC or something? And we were like, okay, it's whole new game, it's a different engine, it doesn't have anything to do. It's just the same story, but the game and the same premise of the game is the same selling point with about using the monsters and all that. But it's not the same game at all. It's completely different.
And how long did it take for them to understand that?
Yeah, almost the whole month. We were like the game was released on 23rd, January 23rd,
Mm-hmm.
and until January 22nd, we didn't know if we were able to release the game.
Oof.
Yeah, it was like some nail beating time because we were like so super nervous that they didn't tell us if we could release the game or not until the last at the last moment.
Well, thankfully, it appears that you were able to get the game out.
Yeah, they finally understood.
Hmm. Was it just like a
Uh,
language barrier situation, or is it just something
no,
we'll never know?
I don't think so. I just I just think that they didn't even look at the original game. They just saw that the name was the same, but with the resurrection part. The description, of course, is very similar. Yeah, I think they didn't look at the original game. They just say they just saw that there was two similar games, and they said, why it's not an update. I just send you, Adam. I just send you the
Yeah, I
the
see
message
it.
from Steam.
The notification.
Yeah, that is this application failed because it's the same as the other.
Uh-huh.
Well, at the end, we could release the game. People who played the original and have played this remake are very I don't know how to say it. But they are very surprised with the game. They didn't expect this jump from the first to the remake,
Mm-hmm.
and it has been having a pretty good reception. So we are glad with that. Uh, we are very happy with that
I mean,
because well the hard work paid off in this sense, and yeah, it's been well received.
I mean, that was definitely a dice roll because, yeah, like on the surface, it may come across that not much has changed, outside of the fact that, yeah, this is now using a 3D engine, but a lot of people won't understand initially that that means a lot of changes.
Hmm.
You know, just because, like, that is just the transition from 2D to 3D changes so much um, on its own.
Yeah, we could have just make the same game in 3D, but we wanted to do a different thing. We yeah. While we were at it, we didn't just limit ourselves in doing the same game. Just
I mean,
you know,
that would have been another catch-22 situation. Like if you just did make the same game but in 3D, a lot of people would have asked, "What was the point?"
yeah, exactly.
You know.
Yeah,
I think I found a bug.
That one, not actually a bug, but yeah, it's it shouldn't go so high. But the flying monsters are not able normally to step on the pressure plates because they are flying. Yeah, but it shouldn't go so high. That's something I have to check.
Wouldn't be the first time we've caught something on stream and they're like, we have the dev taking notes like, damn it, they shouldn't be doing this.
Yes.
Well, it's one thing. That's something we have come across too. One of the problems we have had with this game is that people were encountering crashes that we haven't found in like 3 months of daily testing of the game for like 4 to 6 hours a day, and we didn't find these crashes. And like some people start playing the game and they just the first thing they do, it's something we didn't try, and they crash the game. So we have been releasing some patches to fix that. I think the game is pretty stable now, so but we will keep working on improving and making new things. We also have taken notes of feedback from players, so we will implement that as soon as possible. Like, for example, having some way to mark the monsters as favorite, so you don't delete it by accident, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Some quality of life stuff, as they say now.
I'm sure it's been much appreciated. Or at least I hope it's been.
Sorry?
At least I hope it's been appreciated.
Yeah.
QOL
QOL,
updates.
yeah.
So putting aside gameplay and systems, has there been any changes been made to the story? I know you said it's the same, it's the same general story that you did the first time around, but have you added, deleted, or just
Well,
adjusted?
we didn't delete anything. We added some new scenes because we the first game, when we released the first game, 6 months after the release, we released free DLC that added new bosses and new monsters, things like that. So in this game, we have added those bosses into the main game instead of being an optional thing, an extra thing. They are in the main game. So as with all bosses, when you defeat a boss, you get a new scene. So as we added these new bosses, we had to add new scenes. So that's one thing we did. We also added some lore. The first game had these diaries that were like some books you can find in the dungeons, They were part of the Kickstarter, so they were like people who pledged for the first game could add some small story into the game. We changed that because as it's a remake, we wouldn't add the same stories. So we changed those little background stories for game lore. So it's official game lore, you know. And we added a lot of those diaries. And we also added cutscenes before and after you defeat a boss, the final boss, things that make it a bit more. You keep entering the same level all the time.
Yep.
You have to go to the, yeah, you can leave.
I'm used to games like this that will push the cursor forward, so I guess that's just a failing on my part. I wasn't paying attention.
No, it's yeah, I get what you say. It's normally they go to the next level, but there are some places where you have different paths. So
Fair
we
enough.
didn't want to. Yeah, we didn't want to.
That's just my bad then.
Yeah. Yeah, we added some new stuff. We tweaked.
Right.
Yeah.
One thing I don't think we've touched upon yet, and to not get into spoilers, but there is a 2-player co-op mode.
Yeah. That was also present in the first game. It's a bit weird how to play the two game, because we have to make it work with the game within the story. In the game, the character is alone, so having a co-op doesn't make sense in the first place. But we made this monster. The first boss you defeat is a shapeshifter thing, and it can take the shape of the character, so you can play with a copy of your character.
So kind of like Guigi.
Yeah, like Wii, maybe. Yeah. So you have to defeat the first boss to unlock this option. So it's kind of hidden, but it's there. Yeah, you can play in split screen.
Okay. So local co-op only?
Yeah, only local co-op. We tried to make it online, but it was how do you say it? We couldn't do it. It was just out of our reach. It was too much.
Yeah, out of the myriad of things behind the scenes that a lot of people do not know, coding netcode is usually an absolute nightmare.
Yeah. Specifically, if you have to do things like controlling different, for example, it's a procedural game, having the same placement of everything. That it's difficult. It's very difficult. We did some experiments. We saw that it would take a lot of time, so we set it aside and we just went with the local co-op.
Yeah, the only way to do that cleanly is to implement like a public seed system where you can actually see what seed you're on and send it to a friend, and that just gets messy.
Yeah, but the monsters also have procedural attributes.
Right.
They can be different elements. It's very difficult to sync all that.
Yeah, that's right. Even if you're using a seed, it can be messy.
Yes.
All right, now let's actually go to a different level this time.
Yeah, finally. Okay, this is another new thing in the game. This is the Colosseums. It's like an arena. You get trapped and you have to kill all the monsters you see. This was added so you can also use them to level up quickly,
Mhm.
because now you can replay the levels. It's something you couldn't do in the first game. Now you can, well you know better than anyone. You can replay the levels. You can use that to grind. So if you get stuck, you can just play this kind of dungeon levels and just kill a bunch of stuff and level.
Right. So what's the response been so far in since the game's gotten released?
Well, we have received one comment that is kind of like, well, you're missing the whole point. We have the reception has been mostly positive. People are liking a lot the combat, the new combat, the new things you can do, and all that. But we have seen reviewers say that they preferred the pixel art game. So yeah, it's like, well, you couldn't have this combat with the pixel art game, you know.
Right.
It's yeah.
Still, that's not surprising because there are people who are just going to prefer the original style over this due to various factors. But
Yeah.
I hate having to ask this question, but it's just the times we live in. Have you had to deal with yelly internet chuds given the subject matter contained within the game?
Yeah. This time not so much, because I think it's very clear that the character is a girl now. But
Because I remember playing the game before and was like, am I playing as a girl or not? Because like the design was very androgynous.
yeah, in the first game with the pixel art and all that, you couldn't see actually.
It was kind of like a Samus situation where you had no idea until you progressed through the game that, oh, you were playing as a lady.
Well, you didn't have to go so far.
Yeah, but you still had to progress some. Like,
yeah, you had to progress. Like,
if you just played like the first level and put it down, you'd have no idea you were playing as a girl.
Yeah, maybe you had to beat the first boss or something to see 100% that it was a girl. Well, you could hear the voice, but anyway. But this time it's obvious. It's more obvious. So we didn't encounter as much as the first time. But yeah, we have been called a woke game, being made fun. Yeah, we had at the trailer video in YouTube. Some people say stunning and brave, and yeah, like making fun of that. But the first time it was worse. We had some review bombing. We had some Twitter harassment, but this time it wasn't like that.
Luckily. I'll be honest, I'm surprised at that.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's been less because obviously it's not surprising that people would be, awful people on the internet.
No, I'm surprised it is less because, having the character being more identifiable as a woman and also in love with another woman isn't going to dissuade the chuds of the world.
Yes.
In fact, that's going to make them madder. but they can also get the shotgun blasted. So whatever.
Well, we had this comment in the first game, in the original, that was that we were sneaky. We put lesbians in their game sneakily.
Oh.
You know?
I mean, hi, welcome to the real world. You must be new.
Yeah. but yeah, we had those kind of comments the first time. This time it has been more like, I'm not going to buy it, or this is not for me. But it wasn't as aggressive like the first time. I think that many people thought that that Tama was a boy with the original game, and
well,
they
you
were
mentioned
like
voice acting, but for a lot of times for like younger males, they will use a female voice actor.
Yeah,
especially if they're pre-puberty. So I could see like
yeah,
voice acting isn't the only cue to like, oh, you're playing as a girl. You could be playing as a young man.
yeah, of course. That's something that could be yeah, it could be a possibility. But yeah, it's like with the first game, with the original game, we had this feeling that some people felt that we were like hiding it. It was not that we were hiding it. It's just we are not trying to capitalize on the theme, right?
Mm.
We don't need to tell people that this is a game about two girls that are in love and all that. It's
Right.
just what it is.
Right.
So,
You're not doing the Fear Effect 2 marketing.
of course, that's not in our intention at all. That was fetishizing this kind of relationships. We were not we were not doing that. But yeah, yeah, we were not hiding that
Right.
yeah, but we were also making it a big deal of our promotion of the game, and yeah, we didn't put any scene in the trailer. Yeah,
Right.
and this time we changed the cover art. We made it the cover art, so it's obvious that they are two girls, and we received this kind of comments that I told you. It wasn't as aggressive as the first time, but we still received some kind of hate, quote hate,
Right.
because of the thing.
Yeah, that's not unexpected, unfortunately. But still, take miracles when you can get them.
Indeed.
Anyway, so how have sales been so far?
Not really good, actually. Yeah. We're kind of baffled because Switch has been doing very, very very poorly. We were making the game specifically tailored for Switch. That's why it looks like it looks.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted to make sure that the game ran well on Switch. We didn't have any problems, so we went with this PlayStation 2 style because as we were using Unreal Engine, we didn't know how it would behave.
Yeah.
We were kind of worried that it would be very heavy for the Switch. So we choose this graphical style so we could lift up this baggage and make sure that the game worked on Switch. And the first game did really, really well on Switch. It was the best-selling platform for us. It was more than half of our sales. So we expected that the game would do much better on Switch. It's underperformed by a mile. It was a very underwhelming. Actually, the game, the platform that it's doing better, it's Xbox, which is totally unexpected. But it's not doing the same numbers as the fair game at all.
There could be all sorts of explanations for that turn of events, in addition to what we talked about in the opening. And for example, the Switch is in its twilight year. I mean, we are on the precipice of the Switch 2 getting fully revealed and getting released, for example.
Yes.
And
that could be definitely that could be one reason. We have been talking with some friends in the industry. They are more or less like that. Maybe not as bad as us. But yeah, we also talking with companies that are releasing games physically, because we want to release this game physically too. We have been talking with them, and they have told us that Switch is selling very poorly lately. Even physical, because it's weird, because many people bought all the physical releases on Switch. It was one of the most appreciated platform for collectors, and all of a sudden they stopped buying physical on Switch.
Yeah, I really do think it's because the Switch 2 is imminent.
Yeah, that might be a very very important reason. That's what this company told us, that people are waiting for Switch 2, and they are only buying Nintendo games because they know that they won't go out, or they won't devaluate.
Right.
But yeah.
I mean,
well, let's see what happens with Switch 2. We don't have access to the development kit yet. It's they are being very picky with
I imagine
who they give the access to.
Yeah, I remember that being the case when the original Switch launched. 7 years ago, 8 years ago at this point,
something like that.
Yes,
and the Switch 2 will present new opportunities, if nothing else, because with a new platform, hopefully come a new eShop, a better. I think everyone wants that.
Yeah,
and we don't know at time of recording what it's going to look like, but hopefully a lot of problems with Nintendo's digital service get ironed out. Plus, there will be the release window for those fortunate enough to be in that window. If they don't have, like backwards compatibility, that's another thing that we don't know what is yet.
Well, they said that it's backwards compatible with 99%
they
games.
said most games. We don't know what that most is.
Well,
we have guesses, but
they've also said the Nintendo Switch Online is heading to the Switch 2. They haven't really detailed what that means. Like, from the NSO games to Once again, are you going to have to republish your game on the new eShop? We don't know these details.
We don't know.
Yeah, it's a whole bunch of questions.
Very important questions.
Yeah, but we'll see when in April how many of those get answered.
Indeed.
Anyway,
I sincerely hope that the eShop it's like a different eShop. Like you have to go to a different application or whatever, and just separate the Switch 2 games from the Switch 1, because like a clean start,
Yeah.
That would be nice, but we'll see.
This is also Nintendo we're talking about.
Yeah. you never know what they are going to do.
I am reminded of what they did with the 3DS and new 3DS, and it was not very good.
Yeah, no. It's not. We don't know what they're going to do. We know what they can do, or
what they have done.
Yeah, and that scares us. Like, anyway, so in terms of the future plans of sort of the Necromancer Resurrection, will you be doing DLC for this like you did the original game?
No, we are not going to do DLC for this one. This is content complete, as we could say. Maybe we add like some new weapons or something like that, but not like the first game. You can, well, if you exit or to the altar, you go to the
entrance.
The entrance, yes. If you go to the door that you have at left now. Okay, yes. Right. Yeah. That's
this one right here.
At the right of the safe, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. That one.
Let me save real quick.
You can save there. Okay. Yeah, at the right. This is this has already the extra modes we added in the first game as a DLC. Mm-hmm. So we changed it a bit. We made this challenge mode, which is like a roguelike mode, and the boss rush, which is like you have to beat the bosses one after the other. So this is the DLC we could have done for this game. It's already in it, and as I said, we can add some new weapons or some bonus stuff, but not a content DLC.
Makes sense.
We want to focus on finishing Revenant if we can do it. So we have to see if now with this game out we can attract some publisher. Maybe we can get enough money from this to fund the other. We have to see how things advance.
Well, hopefully we can have you back on the program to talk about, Revenant in a completed form.
I hope.
Indeed. Anyway, I suppose that also means I've run, through my gamut of questions. I will see if my colleagues here have anything further to ask you.
I think I'm good.
Yeah, I don't have any specific questions. I've been looking at it, and it looks pretty good.
Yeah, and you also have it on the review queue for from a few weeks. Probably send you that. We'll send you that when it gets completed.
It was cut I couldn't hear for a couple seconds.
Oh, sometimes that happens. Yeah, this is also in a review queue.
Okay, perfect.
Anyway, with that in mind, I want to thank you, Victor, for taking time out of your schedule and being with us here today. It's been a illuminating, if not concerning, conversation, if nothing else.
Well, I tried to be as sincere as I could. Thank you for having me, of course.
Yeah.
Well, I thought that you have to tell everything, if it's good, if it's bad, because maybe you have some aspiring game dev out there that wants to get into this world. They have to know everything. They have to know that it's not sunshine and lollipops and yeah.
I mean, if they've been listening to our show on the regular, they'll certainly know that. Like, believe me, we go into the trials and tribulations of game devs, not just the external factors, but the internal factors all the time.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. Anyway, so the game is Sword of the Necromancer Resurrection. It is available now for all major platforms. It retails for $24.99, so be sure to go and pick it up today. And indeed, that'll about do it for this episode here. Be sure to tune in next time for our Sunday reviews, and I shall wish you good gaming.